Which is the longest dungeon in Twilight Princess? We've already covered Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and Wind Waker, and now it's finally time for Twilight Princess. I am really excited about this one. Twilight Princess has the best dungeons. Once again, I asked you guys which ones you think it is, and once again, it's one-sided. As always, keep in mind that this is completely subjective. These playthroughs are coming from someone who knows Twilight Princess very well, but your times might be totally different depending on your experience. I'll be timing every mandatory dungeon room, adding up how long each one takes, and breaking down what makes certain dungeons feel longer or shorter. Here are the rules. The timer starts the moment I enter the dungeon and stops the second the boss is defeated. I won't be grabbing every optional chest. No need to go out of the way for every map or compass, but if something's right in front of me, I'll pick it up. Maybe. I'll also be picking up Ooccoo for some of these dungeons if the idiot isn't out of the way. No glitches, no sequence breaks, just straightforward runs with solid game knowledge. I'll be playing the original GameCube version, though the time should be nearly identical on the HD remaster. Before we dive in, drop your predictions in the comments and we'll see who gets it right. This is going to be an interesting one, guys. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's start things off with the game's very first dungeon, the Forest Temple. The thing about Twilight Princess, guys, is that even the first dungeon isn't short. Let's break it down. We can save this monkey with a basic spin attack and then follow it to the second room. Initially, we have 4 options here, but let's use the lantern on these 4 torches and then take the northern door. Yeah, we can't do anything here now, so let's go back. Now you can take either side, but let's go with the left side first with the help of this girl. So the left is a block that can be blown up with some of the weirdest characters in the series, Ooccoo. I've picked her up here because she's not out of the way, so I didn't really waste any time here. Make your way around to the right side this time and head to the door straight ahead. We'll make our way to the right side door in just a minute. Here, just cross the bridge and head straight. This next room, all we want is the key in the chest to the left of us, so let's grab it and backtrack 2 rooms back to the door on the right side that I mentioned we'd be back for. This spider might give you an issue, guys, but a quick shot with the slingshot will take care of things. This next room has our second monkey where we can just roll into the stand a couple of times. Then take care of a couple bokoblins. Yay, now we have 2 of them. Now we can backtrack all the way to the second room and take the door on the left side this time. This room can be a bit annoying and time consuming, but basically activate a bombling and then quickly throw it in this gap, taking care of this guy. Now you can do the exact same thing and this time taking care of the boulder on the other side. This may take a couple tries and kill some time, but we did okay here. This next room has an easy key to the right. One might kill some time in this room trying to cross this bridge because these tile worms will cause trouble if you accidentally step on one. Same thing here, but it should be straightforward if you don't rush. With the second monkey saved, we can now take a right in the previous room and head through the door at the top of the vines. This guy is very easy. Just continue to hit his head and then throw a bomb in the bud for a nice key. Yay, now we have 4 monkeys, so we can backtrack all the way back to the main room and head through the broken bridge at the northern door, which we can now get across. This is the mini boss room and a pretty easy one at that. It took like 40 seconds to kill here, giving us the Gale Boomerang. Back outside, head right, and now we can control these bridges so we don't have to wait anymore. We can also free our 5th monkey with the boomerang here. Head the opposite way as the monkey and backtrack to the room with Ooccoo. We can now cross the bridge and get the big key with the Gale Boomerang. This puzzle really shouldn't take too much time here, like it's pretty straightforward. Now backtrack to the room where we only picked up the small key at first, and now we can cross with the boomerang. Before heading straight, you can also head to the room on the left for a room that will kill some time if you don't have it memorized. If you burn the wrong web, you'll basically have to continue to climb back up, so this might be an annoying room. Otherwise, save our 6th monkey and this time head through the northern door in our previous room. You should only have 2 monkeys left to find. In the same room, head to the left and climb some vines for the next room. This room can be very annoying. Grab a bombling with a boomerang, then get rid of the Deku light to grab a key. Now to get rid of the boulder, you have to target both the bombling and the boulder itself, and it should take care of things. At the top, there's another boulder, which you can just target the bombling for Link and then just blow it up yourself, saving the 7th monkey. Backtrack once again back to the room outside the boss door room, and this time head through the locked door on the left. To make things easier, these tile lakes can now be dealt with using the boomerang. Continue for the tunnel and climb up the vines. We can now use the boomerang and save the final monkey. We can now backtrack to the boss room where they'll allow us to cross. This is always one of my favorite parts of this dungeon. The boss itself shouldn't give you any significant trouble. I always do kill some time trying to target both the bombling and Diababa, or having the bomb explode before hitting him. I can also never avoid this for some reason, I don't know why. This gives us a final time of 25 minutes on the dot. The Forest Temple had a total of 14 rooms, not counting the outside rooms, and 3 floors. This has to be one of, if not the longest first dungeon in the series. It's a moderately sized dungeon with several connected outdoor platforms and bridges. The biggest time sinks of this dungeon include the backtracking for monkeys, the basement spider section, and the windmill bridges. The Forest Temple had quite a bit of backtracking, which added so much to the time. There's also the opportunity for getting some monkeys to save, which could add even more time, but we did okay here. I also added a bit more time with the Diababa fight and timing the bombling right, but it wasn't too bad. Overall, the Forest Temple had low combat difficulty, but the amount of backtracking, rescuing monkeys, dealing with tile worms, and waiting for the bridges makes this one of the longest opening dungeons in the series, even though it wasn't a non-linear dungeon. Fun fact, this was actually my favorite dungeon as a kid. Let's see how well we do with the Ordon shield here, because I was too lazy to buy the Hylian shield. This first room is linear and has you starting off jumping from platform to platform while avoiding the lava spikes. After that, you're going to step on a switch with the iron boots and move your ass before the lava turns on again. Repeat the same for the other switch and make your way around and up the ladder. Ignore the chest and pivot to the right and south to step on another timed switch. You have to move here and be extremely wary of the torch slugs. These guys can be a killer in this dungeon. At the end, jump on the higher platform and once again use your iron boots to open the door. That was a larger first room, eh? The second room may look a little daunting, but it's extremely linear. Head to the right for an easy chest for a key and then make your way to the left side while being patient with the moving platforms. In this next room, just follow the path and once again avoid the lava and you'll reach a Dodongo that I urge you to kill. It'll make this next puzzle so much easier. All you have to do here, guys, is just pull this slab and then quickly move to where the door is before it closes again. This may take a few tries though, but you should be okay. This next room is the start of one of my favorite dam mechanics in this game. Like, how cool is that? This room really is just an introduction for that, so more to come. The fourth room is home to the first shard of the big key. I also really loved this concept as well. We can ignore this map, but I grabbed rupees here for some reason. I don't know why. Head up the ladder and out the door, ignoring Ooccoo if you please. Here you can easily stick to either the left or right wall and get rid of the slugs. This next room, we're actually back in the third room, just higher up. This is actually one of my least favorite uses of the iron boots mechanic here. It just totally slows the pace down and can take you a while for you to find the right path. But basically just head to the far right, then take the left path and eventually leading to the door. This room is an obvious time killer, guys, for the first few runs, but we did okay here. We're back in the second room, and if we step on the switch, we can attach the moving platform with the iron boots. Just make sure not to accidentally let go here. It'll take you to another platform and just basically rinse and repeat for a second time, leading us to the sixth room. Hop in the water and once again use your iron boots for an easy chest to the right. Now make your way to the left corner, push the block out of the way, and make your way to another magnetic switch. This is one of my favorite things to do in this dungeon. Look at that. Hit the switch and quickly run through the door. Walk up the left wall and make your way to the top platform and break the rope, dropping the bridge. This is actually one of my favorite rooms in the game. Like, we're outside now. Look at this. You can either use your slingshot to take care of these bokoblins or just run. I'm not going to worry about them just yet. To the left, there's an easy chest here. And guys, you may notice how damn open these chests are in this game. Now go to the right and directly straight for the 8th room. Here we have moving platforms with more fun. You get the idea by now though. The 9th room is the second big key shard. Higher up, just make your way to the left and into the mini boss room. This guy once again utilizes the iron boots and is very simple. Just attack his chest while he's close to the edge, and when he begins to charge, grab onto him and then throw him into the lava for a total of 3 times. After doing this, you'll get the bow in the next room. Now we can easily draw the bridges. This same room has a lot of BMOs and can be overwhelming. The only room that you actually have to worry about though is the room 3 o'clock from the exit. Here is the 12th room and the final big key shard. Make your way into the south room and into one of the most annoying rooms in the game. The key here is to not rush at all and to make sure that before you jump onto each platform that you take care of every slug. Once you've made it around, step on the switch to bring you up and then hit the switch while you're upside down to open the door. Here we're back in the second room but at its higher level. Not sure why I grabbed this either. Draw the bridge and step on the switch to bring you back to the sixth room. This time we have toad pulleys, but we have the bow and can quickly hit the switch and return to the seventh room back outside. These bokoblins are much easier now with the bow, but we'll take care of them when we have to. Make your way to the left side, killing a BMO, and make your way around to a switch, activating another moving platform. Jump on it and quickly aim to lower the next bridge. This might actually take a couple tries here. This is the 14th room and actually the boss door room. Simply lower the bridge and defeat or avoid the swarm of bokoblins. This boss is very simple and repetitive. Just quickly aim at its glowing spot, then grab its chain with the iron boots equipped and go to business. Do this for a total of 3 times and this gives us a final time of 20 minutes and 35 seconds. The Goron Mines is actually one of the most unique dungeons in the series. At a total of 15 rooms and surprisingly only 2 floors. It's a moderately large dungeon that's actually surprisingly much easier than the Forest Temple. Both the mini boss and boss won't add much to your time if you have half a brain. It's also a dungeon where you revisit rooms multiple times, often on higher levels as you progress. But there's also some obvious backtracking as well. The biggest time sinks of this dungeon are the magnetic wall sections, especially the second room upside down. That is sure to add some time. Other than that, it's a very straightforward and linear dungeon with a lot of your time being spent using the iron boots. At least it's better optimized, right? I completely expect a huge increase in time with this dungeon. It's also my favorite water dungeon in the entire series. After some brief swimming, you're introduced to the Lakebed Temple. Here you can just pull the lever to open the door to the second room. Here, equip the bomb arrows and shoot at 2 of the stalactites to make your way up to the next room. Ignore the Lizalfo and enter the 4th and main room, home to many nightmares as a kid here. This room alone is the reason why this dungeon may be the longest for you. Let's break it down here. Run down the stairs and to the left until you find a lever. Jump and pull it to rotate the stairway. Now run up the stairs and to the left again to pull another lever. Now take the first door ahead of you. Run across and into the next room. Here was a fatal mistake of mine. I completely ran out of bombs. I couldn't bomb the stalactite to continue. So outside the room, I grabbed Ooccoo and teleported to the start of the dungeon. And in the first room, there are bombs to grab, which I completely forgot to get. So stupid, I know. I spent about 6 minutes and 25 seconds in total trying to find bombs and eventually doing all of this, which I will be deducting from the final time, guys. Don't worry, but let's continue on. Now that we have the bombs, we can make our way to the key in this room. Now backtrack to the main room. Head up the stairs and to the right this time until you come across a locked door. Run straight once again, avoiding this annoying ass Helmasaur, one of the most annoying enemies in this game. This next room you can once again bomb the stalactite to the left and then open the door. Bomb the boulder and head straight, ignoring the left door. We can't do anything in this room yet, so let's take the door to the right back outside of the previous room. Run straight for an obvious key. Now return to the next room, open the locked door, and make your way to the top of the room through this linear path. This only took about 30 seconds. Help yourself with some bombs at the top and then pull the switch to activate the water flow and slide all the way down to the bottom. We can now pull the switch at the bottom and drain the water into the rest of the dungeon. Now we can backtrack to the 6th room, which honestly, I just kind of took a shortcut by jumping down from here. Now the platforms will be moving from the flow of water, so we can go through the door on the left and grab the chest on the right to grab a key. Don't take the door on the right, guys. It leads to a dead end, which will kill some time. Instead, return to the previous room and then ride the platforms to the next room. Use the small key on the door and swim through this linear path, avoiding the annoying Baris. This next room is the mini boss room and can be taken out extremely quick by just hitting his mouth with the bomb arrow and basically rinse and repeating before it closes. Otherwise, if it closes, the battle is longer and you have to deal with so many Toados. But we took him out here in about a minute here for the claw shot. With the claw shot in hand, backtrack all the way back to the main room, which has water flowing into it now. Run up the stairs and to the right and all the way around until you reach a target, which you can hit with a claw shot. This is actually a switch that we can pull on now, which changes the staircase to allow for the flow of water into the next room, which we couldn't actually progress in before. Run through the water mill and into the next room. This one can be annoying. Claw shot on the target to the right and grab some bombs if you like. Now claw shot onto the vines and continue to do so until you reach the top door. Bomb the stalactite and make your way to the next room with a linear path. This next room is almost identical to the previous room we drained with the water, except this time requires the claw shot to get across the gap. Wait for the water lower before using it, otherwise you have to make your way back up, killing more time. Drain the water once again and backtrack to room 13, which you'll notice the platforms are now moving since we got the water flowing. Nice! We just passed the time of the Goron Mines. Now make your way to the northern room using the platforms and targets and trying your best to avoid the keys, but they can be so annoying here. This next room might be the most confusing room in the dungeon aside from the main room. Jump in the water and bomb the boulder. Bomb the other boulder at the lower corner and swim back up and into the big key room. Now simply claw onto the target above and lower yourself until you're below the hole and finally let go, giving us the big key. Now we want to backtrack all the way back to the main room, but I've always honestly just liked to use Ooccoo here since I feel like it's a bit faster, but I have no idea if it actually added more to the time or less. We just passed the time of the Forest Temple. It took about 2 minutes to get back to the main room though. In the main room, we can now access the boss door with both water levels raised. This boss is extremely easy. Just keep your distance and claw onto its eye, but the bombfish can and did add a bit more time as a distraction. It only takes 3 hits for the next phase, which is even easier. Just swim and target its eye 3 times. I genuinely don't know how people can die with this boss, but the final time was 28 minutes and 9 seconds. The Lakebed Temple had 18 rooms with 4 floors and 2 basements. This dungeon clearly is extremely massive. It's centered around a central room which will take the bulk of your time in this dungeon, making it one of the main time sinks. The amount of backtracking involved is also sure to add a lot of time. It's another water dungeon that forces you to think and make you question yourself constantly. The central mechanic is the water flow system to redirect currents through the temple and raise the water level, giving you a sense of progression as you go on. Surprisingly, the smaller enemies in this dungeon are more annoying than the mini boss and boss, but overall you shouldn't spend too much time fighting anything in this dungeon. At first, the layout feels chaotic with water channels, twisting staircases, and similar looking corridors, making it easy to get lost. Once you grasp how the central room works, the dungeon's design clicks and progression speeds up considerably. The layout encourages smart backtracking. Despite the complexity, the design balances exploration and puzzle solving well, feeling like a refined version of the previous 3D water dungeons. It was actually my pick, guys, for the longest dungeon in the game, so I'm surprised at the 28-minute time here, but let's see how it stacks up. The first room in the Arbiter's grounds is easily tackled by claw-shotting over the quicksand and heading to the right corner. Here you'll see a switch that can be pulled over with the claw shot for easy access. Otherwise, you'll have to deal with a lot of stall trials, and I'm not sure how this guy didn't get me here. With the open door, head to the left and grab the key. You can also refill your lantern oil if you want, but let's head to the second room. This is a dark ass room here, but light the 2 torches next to the door to open it up. Trying to kill or avoid even more stall trials, but I got absolutely cornered here. Following a brief cutscene, we can switch to Wolf Link and kill the first Poe. Afterwards, you can learn the Poe scent for ease. In the same room on the right side, dig up a small square of sand which contains a switch to follow the pathway below. This fourth room, you can switch back to Human Link and then push the pillar, opening 2 new rooms. Here we have our first Gibdo, which is taken out very quickly. Open the chest for a key. This room can be a real time killer since the next Poe is actually above us and so many people miss this opening. Now we can enter this next room and get our second Poe soul. Now backtrack back to the third room and this time take the door above the one we entered before. We're actually back in the 5th room, but this time we have access to a locked door. This next room may take a bit trying to avoid these spikes and traps, but it's not too difficult. Pull and push the platform in place and then pull the switch enough so you can't pull anymore, then quickly run across before the platform falls back down. You're given more than enough time here, guys, so don't worry too much about having to redo it. Run up the stairs and then pull the rotating switch to give access to a chest with a small key, and then run to the opposite room, unlocking the door. This room can be very annoying. It has an army of stall children and also some Gibdos. It's much easier, guys, to actually kill all of them rather than trying to rush it, so this room will take up some time, guaranteed. Once they're all taken out, you may hear a Poe nearby. Dig up another switch to allow us to kill our third Poe. One left. Continue straight out of the room, and the next room has an easy key to the left of the pit, but we're quickly interrupted by some annoying rats that can only be taken out with Wolf Link. So do what you have to do and then head to the next room, which is actually the third room just higher up. Easily head to the opposite room using the platform. Here, push the block in place, then once again pull the switch using the chain, but this time it can be much more annoying, and this damn Moldorm could attack Link and you'll have to grab the chain all over again, but thankfully he only attacked us after we raised the platform. We got some good luck there. But this puzzle can be a time killer for that alone. This next room, we are introduced to style foes, which are very easy. Just equip your bomb arrows after you've slashed it enough, and boom, easy. I've refreshed my bombs here. This next room can be very annoying and time consuming. Basically, only 2 of these torches are the correct ones to light for the door to open. Luckily, I have it memorized, but it will be a slog of a room for your first time if you do fail, and you'll have to deal with an army of stall children each time. Not fun. This next room has the 4th and final Poe with a bit of a twist, but if you've played Ocarina of Time, you should have no problems here. Backtrack all the way back to the 3rd room, and now with all Poes killed, the torches are now lit and the doorway opens. And unlike an Ocarina of Time's Forest Temple, we aren't done yet and still have the other half of the dungeon to do. This next room, head to the right. Now this room was always annoying and is sure to be a time killer. Basically jump all the way down and pull the rotating switch twice. You'll see a chest that's blocked off by activated spikes, and as a kid I had no idea that these are easily taken care of by bomb arrows, so I spent so long in this room. But after you get the key, you can basically just push the platform all the way to the bottom and go through the locked door. Guys, it was much more complicated as a kid, I promise. This next room has the same spike issue, so take care of the ones in your way to get across to the left corner. Here you'll come across the same puzzle we saw in the Goron Mines, but surprisingly it's easier. Just pull the slab and go through. Here, avoid the blade traps and continue to the right. Now you want to run past the spinning blade and kill 3 mandatory style foes to open the door. Run through the door and the linear path and finally into the mini boss room. Guys, this dungeon in particular has one of the longest times to get to the mini boss. Like, we're literally almost done this dungeon. This guy is one of my favorites though and can be attacked using Wolf Link initially. Then you can defeat the entirety using Human Link by arrowing him and then attacking. We just passed the time of the Goron Mines. Rinse and repeat basically, giving us the spinner, one of my favorite items in the series. Look how cool that is. Back outside, we can use a spinner to the right, making sure to jump to the left side and into the next room. Here we can use a spinner again, riding from platform to platform and avoiding the spinning blades until you reach the northern platform, which takes you to a separate area. This chest just contains a piece of heart, so we're just going to continue riding past the spinning blade, and I'm very proud of myself for not stopping at all here. That was so smooth. This room may take some time if you do continue to get hit by the spinning blades though, and the opportunity is always there. Continue using the spinner and take the left path. This can be very annoying and a time killer trying to maneuver around these blade traps, but we did very well here. Now we can finally receive the big key. Spin her over to the central platform and use it to open the door to the boss door room. Now once again, spin her up the right path until about halfway and then jump into the middle platform and then use the spinner to create a new path to the boss door room. Finally! We just passed the time of the Forest Temple. This is actually one of the best bosses in the series. This first phase can be a bit annoying though. Use the spinner and aim for his spine, but once you hit it once, you'll be surrounded by annoying stall troops. This can be very time consuming since there will be a lot more of them overall to deal with. It didn't take more than a minute here though. This next phase is actually more interesting and fun. Basically, ride a spinner up, avoiding his attacks until you can attack him, sending him down and allowing us to use our sword. We just passed the time of the Lakebed Temple. This battle gets a bit harder as you progress, with blade traps being in your way now, but it's still the same deal, giving us a final time of 29 minutes and 44 seconds. The Arbiter's grounds had a whopping 21 rooms with 4 floors and 2 basements, making it the largest dungeon in the game so far. There are so many time sinks for the Arbiter's grounds, the first one being the tracking of all 4 pose. Of course, it's much easier once you've learned the pose scent, but there's still a lot of raw dungeon time tracking all 4 of them. Some rooms are complex, and if you don't have good timing with the spinner, the rooms with the blade traps will take more time. What makes this dungeon long is that after you're done tracking the 4 pose, which already takes some time, you're only about halfway done the dungeon. Maybe a bit more actually, but still, you get the point. The boss Stalord is also a longer boss fight, with both phases being sure to kill some time. There's some backtracking in this dungeon, but not an insane amount. Overall, I'm not surprised with the length of this dungeon. It is the largest and most complex so far, with the highest combat difficulty as well. This is one of the most unique dungeons in the series. We start off in this first room inside a mansion. This second room we get some dialogue and meet Yetta. We're also gifted the map. She points us to the next room, and this third room we actually get more dialogue and meet Yetto, who is cooking some nice soup. In our fourth room we get our first puzzle. Simply push the block on the left to the right, and then push the opposite block left, down, left again, and then onto the switch to open up the next door. Here you'll want to dig till you're outside. If you use your eyes a bit here, you'll see a hidden chest just slightly poking out of the snow. Dig here for a small key. Now take the door as a human. Turn to the left and go through the locked door. Here you'll be forced to deal with some mini Freezards. They are kind of annoying, but shouldn't give you too much trouble. This next room you'll have to kill 2 chill foes. They can be a bit annoying, but once done you'll have access to the chest for an Ordon pumpkin. Damn. Backtrack all the way back to the third room with Yetto and then give him the pumpkin. Now talk to Yetta and then she'll open the next room for us. We're now back outside on the opposite side as before. This time the chest isn't so visible and can take some time trying to find here. You might notice a slightly circular patch of snow ahead, in which, surprise surprise, has a chest with a key. This one definitely took some time to find on my first time around. Go through the locked door, grab a cannonball and place it on the holder. Now back outside we can pull the switch to bring the ball out and then bring it over to the cannon at the center of the room. These wolfos can make this very annoying, however. We're now going to rotate the cannon until it faces the Freezard. Place a bomb in the cannon and voila! This next room is the mini boss room and is a really fun one at that. Use a claw shot right over him and wait for him to throw his ball and chain and then attack his tail. You have to angle the claw shot so that you clear his weapon, guys. Otherwise, this will happen. He was taken out in less than a minute here, giving us one of my favorite items, the ball and chain. This next room, we can use it to grab a chest containing Ordon goat cheese. Once again, backtrack all the way back to Yetto, giving him the cheese and then to Yetta. She'll open the next door for us. Make your way up this path, defeating the Freezard when you get a chance. At the top, take the right door and then use the ball and chain to get yourself over to the chest containing the small key. Back in the previous room, go through the locked door. This can be one of the most annoying rooms simply due to the chill foe on the other side. To save some time, if you are knocked off, simply break the ice, revealing the claw shot target. To the right is a piece of heart, guys, but it's so not worth it. Just avoid his one throw and then quickly get rid of him. This may take a few tries here. This next room, avoid everything for now and head to the next room, which is back in the fourth room. This time, the puzzle is more complex. Break both the blocks ice and then the ice in the middle. Now move the block pressing the first switch down, north, then move the corner block down and left, then move it towards the middle switch, then do the exact same thing with the adjacent block and opening the door. This room will kill some time for sure, but isn't that bad. It's probably the hardest room in the game. Go through the now open door to get to the outside again. Get rid of some more annoying chill foes, making sure that they don't knock you off. Then claw shot up into the next room. This next room you can make your way from platform to platform for a small key. Now back in the fourth room, we can make our way to the room full of ice and go through the locked door this time. Take care of the 2 Freezards, then knock both blocks down. Now we have to run back down the path and this time take the door on the left to get back outside. Push the block, revealing some cannonballs. What we want to do is grab a cannonball and bring it inside and back up the path. You'll find a cannon at the top, so simply aim it so it's facing right and the cannonball will be launched into the previous room. Now bring the cannonball into the next room and launch it at the Freezard guarding the left corner. With that Freezard down, we can now make our way for the left corner and up the stairs. Take the room on the left and you'll be met with an army of chill foes. What I like to do here is kind of take them out one by one, but that did not work too well here. Either way, they weren't too much of a hassle, and this gives us this dungeon's big key, the bedroom key. Back outside, you'll be met with Yetta, and we can now make our way up and into the bedroom. This boss is also great, and this first phase is very simple with repetitive hits with the ball and chain, and took less than 30 seconds. We just passed the time of the Goron Mines. This next phase is so fun. Blizzetta has 10 spikes, so basically you want to keep running and count to 10, and once all 10 are dropped, quickly pull out your ball and chain and destroy 1 or 2 of them. Here I accidentally threw a bomb, but it still worked out well. Do the exact same thing, and this gives us a final time of 21 minutes and 18 seconds. Counting rooms was difficult in this dungeon because so many of them were different but still connected to each other. But I found 16 mandatory rooms and 3 floors, which seems about right for a mansion. It's a dungeon with an insane amount of backtracking, and you'll be spending so much time revisiting rooms. On top of that, we have 2 characters, Yeto and Yetta, and some time is tied to their dialogue. The backtracking is one of the biggest time sinks in this dungeon, as well as that ice block puzzle room. The combat wasn't crazy difficult in this dungeon, but they are all designed for you to think in different ways. Of course, there are so many opportunities for you to be knocked down on the floor by the chill foes, adding even more time, but we did pretty decent here. Both the boss and mini boss aren't difficult either and won't take much time. It's not the largest dungeon, so I'm not surprised that it's one of the shortest lengthwise. This is my favorite temple in this game, but it's also one of the most linear. This first room, just grab a pot to place on the switch. This will allow us to reach the staircase. At the end of the staircase, light the 2 torches for a key. This is actually the only dungeon where you get Ooccoo automatically. Place a pot on the switch in this next room, step inside to where you open the way, and this time break the pot to open the second way. This next room is a bit combat heavy, but very fun. Once done, grab a statue and place it on one of the switches. You can now place the other one on this switch, but I like to do this, guys. Like, honestly, I've always just done that. Make your way up the left staircase and use a spinner to clear the gap. Here you'll need 2 statues, so make your way to the circular platform, avoiding the blade traps, which I totally didn't here. Grab the statue on the left and place it on the first switch. Pull the middle platform until you're taken down and bring the second statue back up. Kill the 2 Armos for a key and then return to the previous room and walk to the opposite locked door. Take care of the Beamos and simply continue to hit the switch until you can walk to the next room. Same idea here, but with dino foes. These guys are so fun to fight. Here, avoid all these spiders and run up the staircase. Throw 1 statue on the adjacent scale to get Link across and into the next room. This room is easy now, guys, but it's gonna be one of the worst in a bit, trust me. Defeat or avoid the Beamo and run to the left and up the stairs. You can run past the blade rollers and the pendulum for a key. I like avoiding these guys because it's more funny when the blade rollers hit them. Bro, move! Here, grab another statue and carefully place it on the switch to clear the electricity. This next room, just kill all the enemies and the door will open. And into this next room is the mini boss room and my favorite mini boss, the Dark Nut. Once defeated, you'll receive the Dominion Rod, which marks the halfway point of this dungeon. The cool part of this dungeon is that the other half is using the Dominion Rod and bringing this large statue through every room we just passed and back down to the entrance. You can bring it to the next room by placing it on this switch. Back in this room, just place a pot to lower the platform and then break it once the statue is moved on the platform to raise it and move on to the next room. The room with the blade rollers is easily passed again since this guy can actually destroy them this time. This next room, just kill everything, place the large statue on the platform and then a small statue on the switch to raise it and then move him to the next room. Yeah, this room was easy the first time around, but it's a bit time consuming this time. Basically, you need to balance the scale so this huge ass can get across. Place him on the first one and then walk back up to the other scale. Here, jump up and use the claw shot on the switch above. Now use a spinner on the right side. This next room is the big key room. Take care of the enemies, then claw shot up and place 2 statues on the switches. Then claw onto one of the Helmosaurus helmets for the other 2 switches, giving us the big key. Back outside, we have to annoyingly grab the statue again and place it on the scale. Throw 2 smaller statues across and walk across to the other side. Now throw 2 more of the statues to bring the larger statue up. Bring them onto the first scale and then throw 4 statues to the opposite scale, allowing us to finally bring the larger statue across and into the next room. We don't have to deal with the switches in these next two rooms since Buddy here can break the walls now. That is so satisfying. We just passed the time of the Goron Mines. Bro is actually higher up in this room, so we have to pull the switch to grab him, then move the platform all the way to the bottom to deal with an army of baby Gomas. We just passed the time of Snowpeak Ruins. Once done, the path will open and we can break the wall and send him into the next room. Simply grab him and walk downstairs. Break the wall and send him into the entrance finally. Now we can actually put him in his place now, opening the boss door room. Simply avoid the blade traps and quickly grab the statue halfway through. Place it on the switch and jump across. Now step inside the newly opened area and use the Dominion Rod to displace the statue, opening the second area and the boss door. This guy is one of the easiest bosses though. We just passed the time of the Forest Temple. Simply wait for him to open his eye, then use the Dominion Rod on the statue and smash him. The second time he'll release baby Gomas, but the process remains the same. Do this for a total of 3 times and he'll die. Or not. Nope. 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 Bro! Okay, actually hit him 3 times and he'll die, giving us a final time of 26 minutes and 8 seconds. The Temple of Time had 13 rooms and a whopping 8 floors, making it the dungeon with the least amount of rooms, but the most amount of floors interestingly so far. The Temple of Time is one of the most linear dungeons in the game and also one of the most vertical dungeons. The biggest time sink of this dungeon is the scale room, the second time with the statue. Here you have to grab the big key as well, which messes up with the flow a bit since the statue resets to his first location after that. The 2 rooms where you have to continuously shoot the switch to change the direction of the walls to progress is also sure to take time even though it's easy. So far, it's the dungeon with the highest puzzle difficulty, so it's not like you're doing the exact same thing when you descend with the statue as you did as you ascended. I would say that due to its linear nature that it emphasizes problem solving over exploration. The enemies aren't overly difficult, but the mini boss is one of the hardest in the game. The boss is extremely simple and is not a time killer though. Now, I know that this dungeon is a very long one. It's going to be very interesting to actually time it. We're going to ignore the room ahead and turn to the left to go straight. Hit the switch and enter the first room. Here, grab an Ooccoo and make your way across, being careful not to stand too long on these platforms. Do the same thing to get into the next room. In this room, we have 3 options, but we're first going to claw shot to the opening on the left top side. Outside, use the spinner to create a bridge allowing us to progress. Now use a claw shot over to the vine to make your way across the bridge. Here we can grab a chest with a claw shot in this room and then return to the second room after a brief cutscene. Now make your way to the opposite exit. Cross the bridge and enter the locked door into the 4th room. Turn to the right and hit the switch deactivating the wind. Oh, and fall down if you want to as well. Be extremely wary of these annoying ass Helmosaurs too. Equip the iron boots and claw shot onto the next set of vines and quickly hurry across from where the fan was blowing into the next room. You remember those tile slugs from the Forest Temple? Yeah, they're back here and a bit more annoying, and this room can be a time killer if you do rush, just like I did here. Just continue making your way across each platform and using your Gale Boomerang and you should be fine. The keys are annoying though. Kill 2 Dino foes here and then pull the switch to activate a Wind Geyser and then another Ooccoo to get across into the next room. Grab another Ooccoo and then use the middle geyser to make your way to the right, ignoring the chest straight across. Land on the left corner platform and then activate a switch for another geyser activated across the room. Use the middle geyser to now get across the room and into the one we just activated to reach an opening to get out of the area and into the next room. This can be one of the most annoying rooms in the dungeon. Here I spent almost 2 minutes trying to reach the bottom without getting swept away by the winds. It's extremely annoying, guys, but the best way to do this is to not rush and just basically sweep by the sides until you're finally at the bottom. Of course, you can also just go from platform to platform and actually take your time, but I was way too lazy here. This next room is the mini boss room and extremely easy if you have the shield attack technique, making this battle extremely short. Afterwards, we get the double claw shot. Nice. Use it to get back to the previous room. Now it's a lot less painful since we have both claw shots, so make your way up to about halfway up the room and then claw shot onto a switch opening the door. Now on to the next room. Here, simply go from platform to platform and into the next room. Don't wait too long on each platform, but you're given so much time here, so it wouldn't be a problem. Back outside, make your way across the bridge using the claw shots and taking out any babas in your way. Climb up the vines to get back into the second room. Here we can now make our way to the opposite room where the bridge was destroyed using the P-hats. Jump down and use the targets to get across once again. This room can be extremely confusing and time consuming. Claw shot directly straight, then behind you to the left. Here I already got confused. Now claw shot to the platform straight again and then to the target to the right. Now finally target to the left to get onto the platform and into the next area. Jump down to the right and then take care of 2 Deku Babas and then claw shot onto the platform and activate the switch opening the door. Now claw shot to the next area and to the right. Continue making your way up and out of this room finally. We just passed the time of the Goron Mines. Here you can see how annoying this guy was. Like, come on. Only 2 tries though, right? We just passed the time of Snowpeak Ruins. After that guy is finally dealt with, claw shot to the first target and quickly to the left one, and don't fall. This room is another annoying one, guys. These stupid ass keys are annoying, but make your way across the narrow path and at the end, claw shot onto the target above and to the left quickly, and then to the left again on the vines, and finally onto the center platform, getting us out of this room. Back outside is another annoying area and kind of boring because you're basically just waiting for P-hats here. Once you're on the first one, basically target the second one and then the third one. Now move down so you clear the wall. Now move to the final P-hat and wait for it to bring you across into the next room. Here I wasted like 2 damn minutes because apparently I didn't clear the wall here and this stupid ass Helmosaurus wouldn't screw off. We just passed the time of the Forest Temple. We just passed the time of Temple of Time. So this room was a real time killer for me personally. Use the P-hats once again to get across and into the next area. Make your way around until you find some vines to claw shot onto. Once you're on the platform, it's a good idea to take care of the cargo rocks so you don't waste too much time falling off. We just passed the time of the Lakebed Temple. Now use Wolf Link to get across each rope and inside. Here you'll see 2 Helmosaurus, which can be extremely annoying. Use your iron boots and carefully but quickly get the big key finally. Now pull the switch above to deactivate the fan below. Now return outside and this time enter the room below. We just passed the time of the Arbiter's grounds. Claw onto the top and make your way down below and eventually back into the second room. Don't let go here, guys. I have no idea what happens if you do let go, like if you have to make your way all the way back, but I would not be surprised with this dungeon if that's the case. Pull the switch in front of you to activate the fan into the next area. Now finally enter the northern area. We can make our way across using each platform. Be patient here, guys. This next room is finally the boss door room. Immediately claw onto the back wall and then onto the deactivated platform. Now hit the switch to activate the fan. It's also worth knowing that these arrow foes won't bother you for some reason if you don't engage with them. I think they've realized that you've had enough by this point at this dungeon. Now just simply go from each platform, timing it well until you reach another deactivated one. Hit the switch and finally claw onto the platform by the boss door. It's about damn time. This boss isn't a quick one either, guys, but it's one of my favorite bosses in the whole game. The first phase, you can just claw up till about halfway up the pillar and then wait for him to come around so you can target its tail with the iron boots equipped. Do this 3 times and the next phase will begin, which is much longer. Do the same thing, but this time claw onto the top pillar and use the P-hats to avoid the fire. Once he's out of breath, just claw onto his back and attack away. It's basically just rinse and repeat at this point, except this time you have to be careful about him attacking the pillars. For the last phase, he actually stops and attacks the other way. So make sure you think quick to turn around, and this will give us a final time of 39 minutes and 44 seconds. Holy crap, bro. Counting the rooms in this dungeon wasn't easy because of the layout and the amount of outdoor type room areas, which made it impossible to keep the same rules as before, guys. It's literally a city in the sky, so I had to include every single room here. So the City in the Sky had a total of 21 mandatory rooms with 5 floors and 3 basements. This is a behemoth of a dungeon with a list of time sinks. For one, it's extremely non-linear. The rooms are very large with lots of ways to get lost or blown away, especially the room before the mini boss, which shaved 2 minutes of my time here. There's also quite a bit of waiting for gusts and platforms. The mini boss is short whether you have the shield attack or not, but the boss is one of the longest in the game. It's one that will add time and isn't one you can just rush. You'll spend lots of time waiting for him to attack. The navigation in this dungeon can be extremely confusing due to its similar looking architecture. It's also a dungeon filled with some of the most annoying enemies that we've encountered in our journey. The City in the Sky had the highest puzzle difficulty out of any dungeon thus far and tests your timing and spatial awareness. There's also quite a bit of backtracking. Overall, I really should just end the video here. The City in the Sky is just a massive dungeon and is no surprise to be almost 40 minutes long. It is by far the hardest dungeon in the game too. This dungeon had my favorite atmosphere, man. We want to make our way to the left path after some short dialogue. The first room is a bit combat heavy, but just worry about the Zant mask and a chest will appear. They aren't difficult, guys. Grab the key and head forward. The second room is surrounded by unavoidable black fog, which turns Link back into Wolf Link, and a solo Zant mask is hidden in the fog, which is easily defeated again for a small key. The other is a dungeon map, so we can ignore it and move forward again. The fourth room is a battle with Phantom Zant, which is a bit time consuming since he's constantly moving. Just continue to chase him, and the second he stops for an attack is the window for your attack. It shouldn't take you too long here. It only took me less than a minute. Afterwards, we grab this soul and place it on the center pedestal, which activates its hand and absolutely terrified me as a kid. Like, that is so creepy. The objective now is to basically bring the soul back to the entrance area of the dungeon without the hand bringing it back. Once you're atop of the stairs, claw onto it and move on to the next room. It's a lot easier backtracking through the rooms with the soul, but these damn shadow vermins are so damn annoying, bro. Once again, place it on the pedestal, freeze the hand if you have to, and then bring it on to the next room. This room is straightforward. At the entrance, place it on the pedestal and move to the right side. Claw onto one of the side targets, then onto the top and land on the moving platform. Here I got so cocky and it backfired. Take care of the lone Zant mask and move on to the next room. This next one is very annoying. At this point, these guys should be extremely easy though, right? Now take care of 4 more Zant masks, which becomes extremely repetitive and annoying. Make your way to the upper right ledge for a small key and then move on to the next room where you fight Phantom Zant again. Fight him the same as before and bring the soul out as well. This time, when you place the soul down, you can't wait around and actually have to run before the platforms rise. Here I accidentally ran to the opposite one, so don't do that. This room can be very annoying and time consuming, especially if the hand catches up. Otherwise, it wasn't too bad. Now just move from platform to platform and have the last one bring you back. Placing the other soul down gives us the light-filled Master Sword and the start of the other half of the dungeon. Just run straight, clear the black fog with your sword and enter the next room. Clear more fog and place both souls on each pedestal. Now let the platform bring us across and deal with 6 more Zant masks, which are now much easier with the Master Sword. Grab the key and ride the platform until you're back outside. This room is a bit annoying, but let's break it down. Activate the platform to the left to bring you all the way over to the right side platform where there is 1 Zant mask to be killed. This is always one I forgot about. Now go back to the center platform and deal with the remaining 6 Zant masks for a small key. Afterwards, clear the black fog waterfall and make your way up with the claw shots for the big key. We just passed the time of the Goron Mines. Now on to the next room. This is probably the most annoying room in the dungeon. We just passed the time of Snowpeak Ruins. Activate the platform and then choose the next platform towards the door. Now take the right platform and it'll bring you up. If you choose any other platforms, guys, you'll have to restart until you get the correct order, making this a time-consuming room for your first run. Let the next platform bring you over and kill the Zant mask. Now claw onto the top target and drop onto the middle platform and let it bring you over to the other Zant mask for a small key. Now the next platform will bring you over to the next room. Here just deal with an army of shadow beasts and move on to the boss. Zant is one of the longest bosses in the game. We just passed the time of the Forest Temple. We just passed the time of Temple of Time. The most time-consuming phase is the water phase, and if you aren't quick enough, he'll disappear. We just passed the time of the Lakebed Temple. We just passed the time of the Arbiter's grounds. The final phase can be a bit annoying as well, but we did okay, giving us a final time of 30 minutes and 36 seconds. The Palace of Twilight only had 11 rooms and 4 floors. It is by far the most linear dungeon in the game. The layout is extremely straightforward. That being said, the biggest time sinks of this dungeon are the amount of Zant mask enemies early on without the light-filled Master Sword. The room before the boss room is also one that can take some time, especially if you choose the wrong platform or just fall off. The fight with Zant is also one of the longest in the game and will take up some of your time, especially the water phase. It's a dungeon with low puzzle difficulty, low combat difficulty as well, so it's really surprising that this dungeon is longer than so many of the previous dungeons. So Hyrule Castle actually begins on the outside, and we're gonna head to the left since the right side is completely optional. Defeat the swarm of enemies and head through. Once again, defeat more enemies and keep heading through the linear path. Pull the switch to open the doors for a battle with King Bulbin once again. The same idea as before, and this time he gives us a key. Now backtrack to the beginning of the section and this time walk inside. Once again, defeat the swarm of enemies for an introduction to the final dungeon. Claw shot up using the chandeliers and make your way up to the northern door. Here defeat a dark nut and then stand on the back platform that's lowered, and then you can use your boomerang to blow out the torch on the right. That brings us up. Here you have 2 paths and both lead to the same place. The right path is considered easier with a couple dino foes, but I always take the harder left path because I always like fighting those dark nuts. Either side shouldn't add significant time to your run though. This next room has 2 Lizalfos, which doesn't open the door after killing. Instead, you need to shoot the leftmost switch behind the back row of paintings. This room can be a bit annoying if you hit the wrong switch, but they just lead to choo-choo spawns. Here is this next room which I was talking about, and if you took the left path, you have to deal with 2 dark nuts at the same time. Here I just slowly triggered one and took them out before the other one basically triggered. You should be an expert at killing these guys though at this point, so this room shouldn't be much trouble either way. Once defeated, take the door on the left to get back outside. Run straight, and after a short and nice cutscene, we get the big key. Now make your way to the right path and follow it until you have to deal with another arrow foe. Now with the small key, head through the locked door at the topmost room. This room is always fun. Switch to Wolf Link and have the soldiers point you towards the correct path. Otherwise, you'll fall down to your death like I just did here apparently. Clear the gaps of the broken staircase by just simply jumping, defeat the enemies, and then you'll find another broken staircase that you actually have to claw shot up this time. Defeat more enemies and then use the spinner up the next staircase, avoiding the blade traps. This may take a couple tries, especially if you had trouble with this sort of thing in the Arbiter's grounds. Finally, deal with the last dark nut and open the boss door. This atmosphere is just unmatched here. Zelda's puppet just requires some waiting and some ping pong, nothing we haven't seen before, right? Only took about 2 minutes here. For Dark Beast Ganon, I like to switch to Wolf Link, but I'm pretty sure you can also use the bow with Human Link. Just watch the walls, and once the red portals turn purple, wait for him to charge and then grab him and have Midna throw him to the side. It's much more satisfying using Wolf Link, guys. If you do press A too early, Midna won't grab him and you'll get killed. Switch to Human Link and attack his stomach. It's basically rinse and repeat, but this time he spawned from the top. This next horseback battle phase can be extremely annoying, but basically try to avoid his sword slash, which is completely unfair at times, and have Zelda hit him with the arrow. We just passed the time of the Goron Mines. Bro, I'm getting killed here. We just passed the time of Snowpeak Ruins. Besides the initial hiccups, this is actually a smooth fight, but can be a bit time consuming. The final fight is one of my favorite fights in the series, but also one of the easiest. It took me less than 2 minutes here without using the fishing rod for a final time of 23 minutes and 15 seconds, which is very surprising for a final dungeon. Hyrule Castle had 6 mandatory rooms, not including the outside sections, and 5 floors. As most final dungeons, it was more of a gauntlet challenge with many dark nut battles. I do wonder how much shorter my times would be if I chose the right path instead of the left, but considering it took less than 2 minutes to defeat the 2 Dark Nuts, I'd assume it wouldn't be that much of a significant change. It's a dungeon that offers a bit more exploration compared to many of the previous dungeons, and one that tests everything you've learned to this point. It's not a difficult dungeon whatsoever and shouldn't take you significant time. And this is the final dungeon ranking from longest to shortest. So overall, the City in the Sky was by far the longest dungeon, while the Goron Mines was the shortest dungeon. Both the City in the Sky and the Arbiter's Grounds had the largest number of mandatory rooms with 21, while Hyrule Castle had the least with 6. The Temple of Time had the largest number of floors with 8, while the Goron Mines had the least with 2. Adding up the times with each dungeon, it took a total of 4 hours and 4 minutes, which is roughly half the game. On average, each dungeon took 27 minutes and 9 seconds to complete, making them on average longer than Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and only 9 seconds longer than Wind Waker's average dungeon time. That is crazy. The biggest surprise to me was the length of Hyrule Castle. I knew that it wasn't crazy long, but I didn't expect it to be that short. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Let me know any comments or surprises about anything here. Next time in this mini series, we will be going through and timing every dungeon in Skyward Sword. So stay tuned and take care.